potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Hi, welcome to Screaming Rebels Podcast, episode 12. This is Jorge Guzman with...
This is Hector Gomez.
And that was our brand new intro that Hector had been working on. Did you do that by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so he's been doing that by himself, and he's been working really hard on trying to get that intro for us, so we're slowly improving. So it's not like we weren't doing anything in the month that we took off. Actually, life caught up with us, the podcast, but this is something that we really enjoy. And even if we might have one or two listeners, we decided that we want to continue with it as much as we possibly can.
That's right. You know, we got to keep going and do actual little things that we like to do, and we're going to continue doing it until we probably get old and tired of it, which probably won't be anytime soon.
Or arrested. So,
or arrested.
I mean, yeah, it's one or the other, whichever comes first. I don't think the inmates are allowed to do podcasts, although they probably can do like Stickam or Ustream.
I wouldn't be surprised because I hear that it's quite easy to smuggle in cell phones.
Oh, yeah. So they could do a podcast.
So we would have Screaming Rebels live from Corcoran?
Yeah, Corcoran. Yeah, that's the closest. Yeah. So before we end up in jail, there's somebody that's been kind of hitting the airwaves. I mean, we're a little bit late. If we were doing our podcast on normal schedule, we probably would have hit this up a few weeks back. But his name is Coney, and he's one of the guys that's wanted, and they want to put him in Corcoran.
He's actually, they don't want to put him in Corcoran. I think they want to hang him.
They want to hang him, sorry.
Geneva court system works a little bit differently. I don't think they really do the prison sentence. They just go straight to the execution. Well,
now that we got our military personnel there, you know, trying to hunt him down. If the U.S. gets him, they can't just behead him and just, you know, they gotta try him like Saddam Hussein, you know.
Or like the other guy recently who was military that killed those Afghani people.
Oh yeah, see.
Yeah, so you'd go through the whole court system.
Yeah, so if Coney gets caught by the U.S., he's going to be brought over here.
Crimes.
Yeah, war crimes.
So it's completely different. For people that don't know, they don't go to that country's thing. There's actually a place where they just specifically try and convict people for war crimes.
And not only that, I mean, knowing the way that the U.S. is, they probably end up trying to keep him and study him so they can learn about him and his tactics, so they can use his tactics in our own escapades.
And the people that don't know that, watch Schindler's List. That's a great example of what happens. In the end of the movie, they show you they're going to Geneva, they're doing the war crimes. So it's actually separated from every country and everything else. Yeah. They try them for those crimes of war.
Yeah, they do. So as we get into Coney, I guess the first thing we should probably say is why we're even talking about him. I mean, who is this guy?
Well, the reason we're talking about him is that there's a huge viral hit for a video that came out about Coney 2012, which was I guess they're trying to get people to see who he really is and try to, I guess, get him for 2012 and have him convicted for those war crimes that he has done in Africa.
Yeah, and for you non-hipsters out there, viral actually is a term for the internet that catches on very quickly and usually spreads very fast.
There's a difference from viral and VD. It's not a venereal disease. It's actually it's viral. It means like it's on the internet.
And it get passed very quickly.
Yeah, you don't need Valtrex for that viral kind of thing.
Well, this thing was kind of crazy because I guess it actually landed on Facebook, and so someone it started there, and within like a week, this video got all these thousands and thousands of views, and I think it went up to millions, and I'm not sure what it's at right now.
So the thing is that they made a really good
it was really
video.
Good. Long too though. It's like a half hour.
Yeah, and there's been people that we've been speaking that has caught the eye of certain people of fame. Yeah,
they did. Well, on the video they talk about that. If you haven't seen it, maybe you should. I mean, just so you can kind of get a good idea and be a little bit more informed. But basically, this video it breaks down and it starts with this guy and his son, and it's all sweet, and he's saying, you know, my son was born and we were lucky to have him, and he goes, but what if he was born in a different country? What would the situation be there? Because I mean, that's always been kind of a question that plagues mankind.
It kind of starts as an autobiography of this guy who been going to Africa for what, last 6 or 5 years?
Yeah, and he kind of philosophizes, you know, and it has to do with the whole thing of luck of the draw, you know. Why is it that you're born to a rich family and I'm born to the poor family, you know?
And I think the thing that got my interest is that I started looking at the ulterior motives kind of thing. Like I know that he did the video and stuff, but then you look at the editing and processing. I mean, I think for people that don't know about videos and that, this video was done at a high-end professional level, and for people that don't know, that costs money. So
about how much money?
That's what I'm thinking for a video like that, probably like $500,000. It would be
so $500,000. It takes
because
for 30 minutes.
You got to think about it. He's videotaping that whole autobiography thing, right?
Yeah.
So they have to pay him for that.
Yeah.
The editing time, the editing software, the cameras. I mean, it all adds up to money. Yeah. So somebody has to be. There's an alternative motive for the why financing this.
How many people do you think it takes to do a video like this? One guy can do it, but it takes a long time.
The editing was done really good. I'm gonna have to say probably like 5 or 6 people to edit that video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, so this is something that took a long time to do.
I mean, I can understand he was passionate and he did the video, but like you're talking the CGI on it, the clips, the everything else. There's a lot. People see a movie sometimes and they just see the movie, but I see like the whole world atmosphere, the CGI that costs money to buy. You have to buy that kind of stuff. You have to buy the editing tools to put the fonts and everything else. So it's not a cheap. It doesn't look like something that he did on iMovies. That's what I'm trying to say.
Or those cheap commercials that you see at late night on Fox when it's like, you know, come down to Lara's used car sales.
And I can make those with mine. My software. I have high end studio stuff, and the stuff I bought came out to close to 1,500. So you're talking about 5 or 6 people editing. So then you take that price of how many laptops do they have, what's inside those specs of those computers that they're doing, what's the memory that they're running off, what editing tools are they using. So there is a lot of money thrown into this.
The charity that put this video out, man, I'm trying to think of the name. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
That's really horrible.
Kony 2012. Something.
No, that's what they're calling this whole movement. They're calling it Kony 2012.
Well, thanks to the VD or viral, we can actually go and look it up right now, and we can just tell you. Oh, we can do it over the phone. That way it doesn't bother, because Lion sucks for anybody who has Mac. It took us, a good 20 minutes to get our GarageBand open.
Well, we were trying to do a few other things, and
I'll let George do that, and I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about it. Basically, I was looking around and found this video thanks to Steven, is one of our. I guess he was one of our assistants with the audio, Steven, or as known as Kelly Grown, and he sent me a video of this girl from Africa, and basically it was against Kony 2012, and you were like, well, why would somebody do that? You know, it's sending a good message. Well, the thing is that it kind of falsified and made it seem like this incident was still happening. I mean, the video tells you it's not happening, but it briefly goes through it really fast. But basically that incident with the kids, and for people that don't know, Kony 2012, it's about a guy named Kony, Joseph Kony, and he basically is on the strong Christian militia kind of theory, and he's trying to get rid of the Muslims and everybody else, and he uses the power of Christ and all this to have these people move, and half of these people think he's also a witch doctor, and I guess that's kind of still a powerful statement in Africa. That he's in with his own inner powers, so he is powerful. So they kind of see that still as a power kind of thing.
So like a dictator, like almost like Kim Jong-il.
Yeah. So basically, what he would do is instead of
get rabbits,
recruiting.
No rabbits.
No rabbits.
Oh, okay. Just this is on an old podcast. If you don't know what we're talking about,
he decided because they're in Africa to make rhino-sized rabbits. As aggressive as rhinos too. That would be.
Yeah. Or well, if he didn't take rabbits, I mean, if he didn't take rabbits, he took children though.
Yeah, he took children and basically he would kidnap them and force them into his militia. And one of the parts of the thing to become part of the militia, he would give them a gun and make them kill their own parents.
Yeah.
And if not, he would kill all three of them. Probably the daughters, he would steal them and force them into prostitution.
But you know, stuff like this, being mentioned in the media even a decade ago.
It's happened for years. I mean, Africa is. But we will catch Coney on 2012.
Well, that's really strange. I mean, that he would end up doing this right after everything and maybe that was the stress because of how it went viral. I don't think he ever intended it, maybe, to go that far.
But you gotta remember though.
Because not only did it go viral in the way that we're saying, because it was a slant and it went positive.
You had to expect it to go that viral because.
Yeah,
he's like, we will.
Yeah, but I don't think he thought that he was going to have all the negative stuff that came with it. Because, all right, what we were going to get into is that as soon as this happened, like us, we started to read. But I wish I was an investigative reporter because I love to get paid for that.
Yeah.
But you had a bunch of investigative reporters that said, hey, what is up with this?
And that's the thing how I am. I'd be like, okay, he's sending a positive message. But why? And then I was like, and why?
And so we started reading all these other different, news reports where people were like, "Oh, we did our research, and we found out there's a little bit."
And then I was starting
else
YouTube people and
Invisible Children. That's the name of the charity. Is Invisible Children.
Not invisible guy who.
No, not Invisible Coney. Not Invisible Black Guy in the night. No.
Or Invisible naked guy drunk in L.A.
No. It's Invisible Children. These are the children that go unseen, they say, and so that they're trying to make a voice, basically a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah, but things happen like this. I mean, you have to think about the Taliban and everything else. They're almost the same kind of
well, yeah. But I mean,
I don't think people take the time to know stuff like this. I think that's the sad issue. I mean, they'd rather see some guy act a fool on YouTube. He's been an activist about what's going on in the militias and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
can now do Google Earth in that area. I believe so. I think that's what it was. Like that's what it was about. Because
so they brought those little cars that we see in Fresno with all those little lights and maps and says Google Earth, and they drove through it. Or what?
Well, they must.
Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I've seen them here in Hanford. Yeah. Because I think with Google Earth, they have to update every 3 months to keep it refreshed, right?
Yeah.
So you'll see this little white car, and it says Google Earth, and there's not millions, but there's hundreds of little different cameras hooked up to the whole car. So I guess once it's driving, it's taking the pictures.
Oh.
So that's how it gets those pictures, and then they sync those pictures with the satellite pictures. That's how you can get the angles of where the
man. You just had to be lucky if it's like every 3 months and you saw it driving.
I was going to the comic shop and I saw it. So I'm pretty sure if you put his comic shop, you see me like looking at it as it's driving off.
Your car is gonna be parked in the front. They're like, "That's the owner's car."
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's just some regular guy that goes to the comic shop.
But why wouldn't they show it though? That doesn't make sense because they can get a satellite.
They can get a satellite, but there was a problem with, I guess, because of the way the whole tension and everything.
Mirror.
No, they didn't want people to see kind of what was going on. So I tell you, it was really it all
like
falls
it
all falls under politics in the end. So Google Earth just can't do whatever it wants, even though they tried to do whatever they want in Google. We love the people at Google. I love all their apps.
And they should.
Yeah, and they should do whatever they want. But. He did put a lot of pressure, and I remember when this was coming out, because he was kind of mentioning, I was like, oh, I'm not that much of a person to use Google Earth, but I have heard of people that love it and they use it all the time.
I like it. I think it's fun.
Do you also use it very frequently?
No, but
I knew people that used it like every couple of times a week at least.
No, I just think it's fun to go if I'm going somewhere and I want to see where I'm at.
No. They like using it to look at different parts of the world.
Well, sometimes there's a great one with SeaWorld where you can go see penguins in Antarctica live, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then you're like, why am I going to be on?
Some penguins on real time.
Yeah, but what do the penguins do?
They just fuck around. They're just flying around. They're doing their penguin shit. So you
spent like a half hour watching penguins?
No, like maybe 3 minutes. I was like, I wonder what's going on. And so I'm like that kind of person, I guess.
Okay.
I like to see what's going on in other parts of the world.
All right.
I like
So anyways, going away from that tangent, now that we know that you like watching penguins and polar bears or
I
whatever
like
it
penguins
is.
just doing their shit, doing penguin shit all day.
You should just watch the
Like, what are you
documentary.
watching? What are you watching them do? Just their normal shit that they do normal every day.
So,
I'm pretty sure if a penguin had a computer and would want to check me out, and if I was like part of SeaWorld, that shit.
I know, but the penguins
like, what
are
are you
already
watching
confined.
Hector
They're
do?
stuck there though.
But like,
That's-
well, what are you watching Hector do? Well, he's doing what he usually does.
I know, but the penguins can't do anything. Like they're already stuck there.
Not by force.
I know.
They can leave whenever they want.
They're in SeaWorld. You just said.
No, they're not in SeaWorld. SeaWorld has the camera in Antarctica. So you can click
But
into
if they're doing their normal stuff, then they do it all the time you see it. So every time you see it, they're doing just the same.
sometimes they're
penguin
just
stuff.
there chilling, yeah. It's like a live screen. It's like a live screensaver.
I guess if you go, if you go to the Congo now, you can actually see what happens
Guerrilla
there. You
warfare
can see,
going
you
on
can
at
see the
live?
guerrilla warfare in real time. Then you go, oh, I don't know if it's real time.
I don't think it's real.
Yeah, it's not real time, but you can see that stuff
It's
now.
whenever that little car decided to book it at 100 miles an
Well,
hour.
wait,
through
I'm
there.
trying to think. Okay, so I'm trying to think of how it works. Because I can't remember the video explicitly. I'd have to go and try to find it again. But I think he was talking about, let me see, maybe it was different. Maybe the military can't just eavesdrop whenever they want on any specific person. I think he tied it in with Google Earth and got Google Earth to start using their facilities because they use it differently.
That
That's like
makes
the
sense.
loophole.
Yeah.
That's the loophole of saying, yeah, Google Earth, though, isn't trying to go and attack
And
people.
all of a sudden, when they went in that area, they saw Coney just chilling.
There, he's been there the whole time.
Damn you, Google Earth!
I know. He's hiding in a hole. That's what he is. He's hiding in the hole right
Just
now.
chilling in the Congo in a little cot.
A little cave? No, it's
Yeah.
not a cave.
He doesn't seem like Osama-ish about it.
No, we just did a Dictator podcast a few times back, and so this seems very familiar grounds. I mean, if we would have known about this earlier, we probably would have
I
did
think
Coney before that.
dictators and what do you call them? Warlords are kind of basically the same kind of mentality.
Yeah, they do. That's why I'm wondering what kind
Right,
of
he would
interesting.
be called a
must,
warlord,
Yeah,
right?
he must have some really interesting stuff about him.
It's kind of a weird word.
Warlord?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're the Lord of War.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that movie, you know, with Nicolas Cage. He was the Lord of War.
No, he was the financier or
No, he was-
supplier of war.
Yeah, but if he wasn't supplying, there would be no war. So, anyways, I like that movie though.
Yeah,
I did.
He was good.
Yeah,
That's when Nicolas Cage was good. Now he just sucks.
he can still do good if they just get him for the right roles, but they don't.
No, it's not that he's doing the wrong roles. I don't know if you know this. We're gonna go off again in a little rant. But he owes millions of dollars to the state of Louisiana because he hasn't paid his taxes.
I didn't know that.
And he owes so much money that they took his house away, and that he's basically didn't have any money left. So he was signing to any movie that they were willing to get. That's how you get Season of the Witch. That's how you get Bad Lieutenant 2. That's how
Ghost
you get
Rider 1 and 2.
Ghost Rider 1 and 2. Drive Angry.
Yeah, knowing what was the other
They're
one?
fucking horrible movies.
Yeah, no, they are. They are. I'm not gonna. No, but
what?
but that's what I'm saying. But it's almost like he doesn't really have a choice in this anymore. Of
No.
I need to get a good movie.
He's like, did you read the script? He's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Let's just roll the fucking camera.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know, we're on a budget. We can only get either Tim Allen or Nicolas Cage. Yeah, you know what? Let's get him. I don't know if I want the guy. So
Like, what's Don Shea doing lately? I don't know.
let's get Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. He needs money.
He needs. Yeah, he's basically like, I will do this.
Yeah.
I'll give you a 20% discount.
It's
on
amazing he hasn't done gay porn yet.
This. Well, he hasn't. Yeah, I mean, they're still paying him pretty decent for this.
Oh, they pay him good money
Yeah.
for come out in a shitty movie.
He has a name. They know he's got a name. He's not going to be winning no Oscars anytime soon. And so I think we're about done with the Coney that we wanted to talk about. Real quick,
Are we?
well,
Here's my thing. My last thing with Coney, all right?
last thing with Coney before we move
They're
on.
financing.
Okay, so every charity has to show. They have a book and they have to
like
show.
tax, like it's open for the public to see. It's basically your taxes open to see for the public to know
Yeah,
where
because
the money's going.
supposedly non-profitable or profitable charities have to report because they take a lot of tax cuts. So they have to keep everything recorded and it has to be public because if anybody comes and questions it, then they have to say, hey, wait a second, they're not paying the proper
So
taxes.
here's the
or
big
something.
thing with the Coney, with the Invisible Children, is that they only actually show 23%.
I think,
Or is it less?
I
We'll
think
check
I
on
read
that.
somewhere that
But
it was 28.
let's
You
just
said
put-
35, but still,
let's just
somewhere
put-
between 28 and 35.
Let's just put about 30% of.
So let's say
their profits.
1/3. So 1/3 of the profits, they show people what they spend it on.
But they don't show the rest.
So there's 2/3 where we have no clue where they spend all this money. Now, if they're spending $500,000,
Alcohol binges.
yeah, that's too much money for
Yeah.
alcohol binges. But if they spent $500,000, which they have shown, oh, we spend this much on a video, when that's included within that 1/3, and someone told me that a huge portion of their money just goes from traveling back and forth to Africa. Like every year they spend like $2 million just going back and forth to Africa. And that's what someone was telling me. I didn't get to actually do the research
Do you
to find
actually
that,
think
but that
they
kind of
stay
makes
in that
sense.
area, or did they go to the Hilton?
Well, that's probably where the other part goes to. I mean, if that's
Are
traveling
they going on a
expenses.
coach, or are they going on a private? Are
What-
they going commercial airplane, or are they going in a private airplane?
First class, also, yeah, and it depends on how many people they're taking, and all their
And
needs.
then
So,
if that guy's doing the documentary, then you got to think about his camera crew and everything else.
so there's a lot of money involved. So I think
Because the guy, if you guys think it's just an autobiography he's doing by himself, who the fuck's holding the camera when he's doing it?
so when what we're saying is that, I mean, if you want to donate to a charity,
Do it.
yeah,
I encourage it. George encourages it. But the thing is, do your homework on who you're going to give the money to.
yeah, don't just give it to anybody. Don't just say, hey, you know what, this sounds great. You know what, they have this video. These kids really need help. I mean, the girls are sex slaves and the boys are militants, and I'm going to give them $100.
Red Cross, one of the great ones to give to. at
Red
the time.
Cross, yeah. And you know what? And Red Cross has done a lot of help when Haiti had their problems, Hurricane Katrina. Not just, I mean, these are domestic problems. And whenever there's foreign problems, Red Cross is there too.
Amnesty.
And they're fast.
Was it Amnesty International is one of the great ones you can go ahead and give money to as well. I mean, there's a lot of great ones. And like I said, do your homework, see where their money's going to. If it really concerns you, then give it to an organization that you know that your money's going to affect these people.
I have to at least commemorate the guy to put out a video, because what I have noticed is that with the internet and the way it spreads, things like, a great example was on my Facebook, somebody liked a photo of some dog at the SPCA, and basically it was this SPCA in a different city, and they said, we're going to put this dog down, he doesn't have no legs, we found him like that, he was at the back of someone had tied him to the back of a car or whatever and dragged him, so they messed up his legs, and the dog was beautiful. And you had all these people that were like, yeah, I'm going to donate. So you had already like 10 people donating to this dog that, I mean, of course, they didn't just need it for that dog. I mean, they probably got enough to help a bunch of other dogs. But it's like, the way the internet works now is if someone shows a video or says something, people, because they want to help. I mean,
It's
they
kind
have
of like
that.
those commercials that come out late night with Sarah McLachlan singing, and the dog has like half of his face missing.
Yeah.
Looking into this.
But of course, it's that late at night.
Yeah.
So it needs to be a little bit better.
And those things too, like if you want to give money to dogs that are injured and stuff, just do your homework. That's what me and George are saying.
Yeah, well, SPCA is a very good one. I mean, they do help.
But they have to pay Sarah McLachlan to do that song. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't think they had to pay her very much anymore.
She probably does it for free.
Yeah, she does. Well, Bob Barker, I don't think did very. I mean, ever since he's gone off The Price is Right, Drew Carey don't do the remember spade your neuter your cats and dogs.
No.
No, he does. I mean, it was only the.
Puppy populations have increased since Bob Barker's been gone.
I know that is very sad. Damn you, Drew Carey. He cares nothing about being spading and neutering.
I'm not being mean, but I miss the fat Drew Carey.
Well, I mean, I miss Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Price is Right hasn't been the same since.
No.
I was like, what's Drew Carey doing here?
And he's not even doing like his comedic. Here we're going on a rant again. He's not even doing like his comedic kind of stuff. He's just like, hey, how you doing? Doing exactly the same thing Bob Barker did. Dude, you're a damn comedian. Throw something original about that show.
Yeah, no, I think they probably told him, hey, you know what, you're going to get this show, but we're going to hold.
He's probably getting buttloads of money.
Yeah, he is, but I don't think they let him do whatever he just wants. I think he has a really tough time. So anyways, that's our wrap up for the Coney 2012. Definitely try to, keep your ear and your eyes open for it, because it seems like this is something that's going to be here at least for another week.
Here's
or
the
two.
thing. If you think that's just happening, Google Sudan, Google Somalia, Google all these places and see what's really going on, because these things are actually happening, and the more people that look into it, the bigger it is, and
Yeah, and that's kind of what they said on this. Like, they want exposure, so they want people to start talking about it. So if they do talk about it, then the government's going to say, well, hey, we're kind of looking bad. Like, everybody's talking about this, and they're really concerned, and the U.S. ain't doing nothing. Of course, the way they present this just looks like it's a celebrity, though. You know, like
Yeah.
it really is confusing. You know, it's very confusing. And Cody 2012. It's like,
Yeah.
thought he was related to Kobe.
I was
for a
waiting
while.
for like the Barack Obama poster where he's half
It's just-
that Bansky.
Oh, I'm pretty
looking
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty
obey
sure it's
kinda
there.
thing.
Yeah, it's got to be there somewhere.
Actually, if I find it, I'm gonna put it as our cover art for this,
Okay, that
for this
definitely. Well, I concur. I'll agree to that. And this is also a follow up. The Academy Awards has now passed. The last podcast hasn't been since the Academy Awards, so it has been a very long time. This was before it even took place. We did get to see. Did you get to see all of it? I think I only got to see some of it. I have it
I
on my
saw a little
DVR.
bit of it,
I
yeah.
probably still will see all of it. I'll end up going back on my DVR when it's time for reruns, and I don't like watching reruns. I don't like watching TV, period, but I will watch the Oscars. I know you like TV.
Not all of it. I mean,
No, I didn't say all of it, but you like the good stuff.
I like the good stuff.
Do you watch Mad Men?
Yes, I do.
You know,
watch
Mad Men's coming back, and I hear
Yeah.
it's just as good as all the other seasons.
You know what though? AMC is amazing about the shows. I mean,
Now they are.
I'll be like,
They used to be horrible. Do you remember that?
It'd be like the
American Movie Channel. Isn't that what it stands for?
It'd be remember the Godfather. It'd be every day.
Yes. And you know what I hate about
Scarface.
watching movies on there? Is their commercials are always longer than anyone else's. Their commercials are like 5 minutes long. I was like, come on, man. You really lost my attention. I'm getting out of here. And I just take
Yeah,
off.
Mad Men's a good show. Breaking Bad's a good show.
Is that also AMC?
AMC.
Wow.
And
They're the next HBO.
The Walking Dead is actually a great series on there. I got to give Frank Dupont kudos for doing that comic book.
I bet you that guy.
Have you seen Comic Man with Kevin Smith on it?
No, you know what? That's funny because as I drove over here, I was listening. I told you to the iFanboy podcast,
Yeah.
and somebody mentions it in the podcast as they start talking about it, and all three of the comic book guys were like, you know what, we don't like it. One guy, I guess, said he saw a little bit of it, and he got turned off right away, and the other ones were like, just from the trailer alone, I could tell that I wasn't gonna like it because they don't show like. I guess they show like really geeky comic book people. Like they don't show the other side of what like they're kind of normal. I guess like they show people geek out on the first issue of like Wonder Woman. Like oh my god, it's like the first.
Well, I think it's more of a reality show than. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, not all comic book people are that.
Well, they're not like that because they'll be like, oh my god, you know, you have a very first issue. Like somebody had a first issue of when Wolverine first actually shows himself, and he's like in a geeky version of the Wolverine suit, right? But then the guy tells you, I was like, I can give you $50, and they're like, well, you said it was the first one. It's like, yeah, see here, like the staples are coming loose. See here, the things tear. I kind of like the show. It's basically like Pawn Stars. It's like a pawn show,
Oh.
but with comic books.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean,
Oh, okay.
but the thing that
See,
I love about
I don't watch those. Like I know that they have that Storage Wars. You know.
the thing
don't
I
watch
love
that
about
either.
it though is that Kevin Smith comes out at every time, and it's like a part of their podcast, and so like he was asking the questions about what's going on the day of his that they're running his secret stash is called the Comic Book Shop, and so they'll tell their story of what happened that week, and I kind of like that. I mean, it's
So it's almost like another podcast then.
yeah, it's like
Okay.
it's like a live podcast.
Like yeah, live.
But then you see what they're talking about that day.
Okay. Well, you know, I mean, maybe I'll end up checking that one out because I do love
I mean,
comic
you have
books, and I like.
you have DirecTV, right?
No, I got Comcast.
Oh, okay, Comcast, right? Go on demand. They're on there on demand. Just watch one, see if you like it.
Oh, okay. I mean, because I listen to a comic book podcast anyways.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
I like the show. I mean, the thing is too is I like that witty, raunchy humor that
Yeah.
Kevin Smith has. I mean, I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. I've been.
And that was the thing is those guys, I guess, said that they're over the Kevin Smith days. That they were like, you know what, we loved him when he first, you know, and we followed him for a very long time, and then we just kind of got away from it.
I like Kevin Smith. I mean, I'm like still an avid fan of Kevin Smith. I mean,
Then you might like his comics, and you know, he did a long run on Green Arrow.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know. I'll give it a try. I saw the one that he did with Batman,
yeah,
and it was absolutely fucking shitty.
That Cacophony one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought that one, and I didn't like it either. It's horrible.
But I
his
like-
Green Arrow run.
I like where
Cacophony one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought that one and I didn't like it either. It's horrible.
But I
his
like
Green Arrow run.
I like
really
what
good.
he's done lately, because I think he's been trying to get out of that. Well, he said he quit movies. He said he's never going to direct a movie.
Oh, I didn't
again.
know that.
And the thing is, because he said that there's so much money into movies.
Yeah.
That like when he goes sell, he pitches a movie and then like that they're like, "Oh, have you thought about making a comic book movie or a movie that actually has like $100 million thing?" They're not looking for indie movies anymore. He said that.
Well, he can do it himself.
And that's what he did. He made a movie called Red State. He said that was going to be his final movie he was going to do, and then he was going to be done. And what's edgy about Red State, it's his first, I guess you would call it, horror thriller movie.
I didn't see
And
that
he
one. I
took
know you told me about that.
He took it very seriously. He had good actors like Michael Park, who came out as in the Kill Bills as.
Oh yeah, I know
as-
Mike. I mean, he was a famous singer before all of this, anyways. Yeah.
And Michael Parks is in it, and then there's another John Goodman's in it.
Michael Park is like John Denver.
Yeah.
And John Denver did a whole bunch of music and everything, but then he acted as well. Like
Yeah, and
towards the
Michael
end.
Park is funny because if you don't know about Michael Park, is that if you watch almost any Quentin Tarantino movie, he has like a little small part in each movie.
Oh, so
Like
Quentin-
the Kill Bill,
Tar-
he was the sheriff that finds the bride dead.
Yeah, I remember.
So
that.
he has little
he-
roles.
So where's he at in even the early ones like Reservoir Dogs?
No,
or
I
Pulp
think
Fiction?
they got to know each other
And then he
during
put them
the
in.
Kill
Oh, okay.
Bills, and then that's how I guess him and Robert Rodriguez and all them are great
Yeah.
friends, and so he kind of got.
He's a good actor. I mean, but you have to know how to use him wisely.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
he can only fit a certain role.
He played this. I don't know why. Like you said, there's a lot of people that they have to go through to see who they want for the thing, and for the Academy Awards. I could see him actually getting nominated for that role. That he
Oh,
did.
yeah. Well, I mean, he would have to continue to do something like that. So going back to the old podcast with the Academy Awards, the one that seemed to take the whole night away was The Artist.
Yes.
Yeah, and which Hector just you saw after the Academy Awards, or
Yes.
did you get?
I was
you
like, well, I
did
had
see
to see what George was talking about, because when we talked about it, George was like, no, you have to see this movie. You have to see this movie.
So I told him he has to see the movie. I didn't say anyone else had to see the movie. I didn't say he has to go take, his girlfriend or anybody else or his children.
So I took her to go see this movie. I took my girlfriend to see this movie, and we're watching it. And we sat there, and we waited and waited, and she's like, hey. And I was like, well, you don't have to whisper because there's nobody here. Because, Hanford is not known for its artsy scenes.
Yeah,
so
I'm surprised you guys
know,
even had that movie.
Well,
in
it
your
came out
theater.
right after the Academy Awards. They put it in the Metro
Oh.
4. And like, we gotta go watch it. So, and she's like, hey, so you telling me they don't fucking talk to this whole movie? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my god, what the hell did you bring this? So yeah, I mean, but she enjoyed it. She liked it.
Yeah. It's a very touching movie.
I have to give props for that movie, because at first I was skeptical about George, but the whole thing about that movie is you have to give it props because it's a whole movie that nobody talks.
Yeah.
And it tells a story, and it's a compelling story.
It is. I mean, because it's not like they made a silent film that was designed for the silent era. They actually made a silent film that was designed for us in this talking film era. These talkies. And that's exactly what it's showing. Like, it's showing the transition, and not only that. I mean, it's because there's so much character development between all the characters. I mean, that main guy, like you end up seeing him, and he's so almost prideful and almost like boastful, like.
And I think it's great
egotistical.
that the two major competitors for the Academy Awards were Hugo and this one, and they both were about the silent era. Each one had.
I know.
Each one had like a little taste. Well, no, Artist had a huge taste about the silent era,
yeah.
but Hugo touched on it because
I didn't touch on it. I mean, the
movie's about it.
Yeah, no, the movie is about George Millet.
Yeah, and how
it's a tribute. I mean, Scorsese does a tribute, and not only does he do a tribute.
I actually want to read the book.
Oh, I didn't know that was
it's
based off a
called
book.
The Inventions of Hugo Cabret.
Oh, well, because Scorsese does it as a tribute, because even scenes within the movie, I mean, we always talk about spoilers here, but like there's a scene where Hugo himself gets locked outside the clock tower.
Yeah.
And he's hanging from the hand, and like he put that scene purposely in there to kind of remind people about this was from a silent movie. I mean, this is something that's been shown so many times that people forget where it's even from. It was the genius of one man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna spoil a little bit of the movie, but I love like when they're showing the first silent movies and they're showing the train. And the people freak out and start trying to run out of there because they think the train's going because they've never seen a motion picture before. Yeah. That was the first time, and it was kind of more like a sideshow. When the first movies and the first film came out, it was like a sideshow. And here's a nickel. They never thought they could do movies or stories with that, and that's what George did. Is he started making stories about it and more dramatic stuff, and he would paint the stills to have color because they're black and white. That's right. That is amazing.
I know. When
anybody who hasn't seen that movie, I highly recommend to see that movie.
Yeah, when I saw that he painted the stills, I just thought, I mean, to me, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that he was the first person to try to put color. Like, oh, I want color. Like, it needs color in these things. And the colors, because he had to paint them, added some crazy, like, psychedelic almost. But it was beautiful. It's like, man, you almost wish someone to do that now. It's like, man, someone should try doing that now. But of course, the people were like, oh, we can just do it digital.
Those movies were only like maybe 2 or 3 minutes long. Can you imagine a full-length movie where they had to paint each?
I mean, they could do it 30 minutes or something. Yeah. I mean, even if it's 40 minutes.
And the thing that I found honoring about, because I watched the little behind-the-scenes about.
No, they were longer than 3 minutes long.
Were they?
Yeah, because you can YouTube them. Did you know that?
Oh, that's right.
And when you YouTube them, I think they say that they're like, some of them are almost like 50 minutes long. Like they're 40, 50 minutes long.
So they did take their time.
Yeah, so if you want, you can actually YouTube George Millet movies. Not just them, but any kind of silent film because they're now part of the public library.
And if people wonder, like, if you ever watch it and you're like, where did I see that man in the moon when he gets shot in the face? And a huge tribute to it is one of the Smashing Pumpkins. The 19, is it Tonight?
Tonight, the video.
Tonight, yeah. It's a whole homage to the George Millet movie.
Yeah, I forgot. That's where I saw it from. I was like thinking, I've seen this because they land there and they do the whole thing too.
And he plays George Millet.
Billy Corgan. Yeah. Okay, that's right. I did see that. That was back in the day when they made good videos.
What was honoring about that movie is I watched.
They just didn't have some guy dancing for 5 minutes.
But I watched the movie, right? There's always that behind the thing because I bought it on DVD as well. As soon as it came out, I had to go get it. But it has the behind the scenes
Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have to get Blu-ray eventually. Yeah. But the whole thing about
I love my PlayStation.
The whole thing about it though, that is he has a daughter that's the same age as Hugo Cabret in the movie, and Martin Scorsese has this shame that he can never show his daughter the movies that he's done because they're ultra violent and his daughter's like 11 years old.
Oh.
And so he wanted a movie to show his daughter of what he can do.
I didn't know that.
And so I guess the invention of Hugo Cabret had been sitting a while with everybody else, and I guess he told one of his producers or screenwriters about it, and he found the book and he sent it to Martin Scorsese, and he said it didn't read like a kid's book. Yeah. It read, he goes, it was very intricate. And he goes, this is the movie that I can do for my daughter. He goes, because back in that time, my daughter was like 9.
Yeah.
And so he's like, this is a movie I can show my daughter what I can do. And I think that's very touching because for somebody who does ultra-violent movies and tells these great stories, but to want to share that with his daughter,
the only thing I can say that I was very sad about was that he did not win the Oscar for that night.
And I think he deserved it.
Yeah, and I mean, because doing our research, I know he's only won the Oscar once. But there have been jokes before that, up until that point when he did, and I think it was for The Departed where he finally won one Oscar. But as I was talking about it to different friends, like someone goes, "Hey," he goes, "Does he even have an Oscar?" Because they had saw that there was who was it?
He doesn't have an Oscar.
No, I know, but that there was a joke on the internet, and who was it? There was a band that won an Oscar for best song, and it was like some raunchy punk band.
Hustle and Flow. Was 3 6 Mafia.
3 6 Mafia. So I said,
it's so hard to be a pimp.
Yeah. So the meme that was going around was you had one side that said 3 6 Mafia, 1 Oscar, and then Martin Scorsese, none. I mean that was at that time that was really horrible. I mean you're thinking. I mean the same thing. It's like come on 3 6 like compared to Scorsese, he really should have had one a long time.
Yeah, but that's for music though. The Oscar was for music.
It doesn't matter though. I mean, because people know that you have one and the other person doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Scorsese had to live with the fact that
Juicy
3 6
J
Mafia had
and
one.
DJ Paul have an Oscar, and Martin Scorsese does. Yeah, that is fucking
see.
horrible. That,
Well, I mean, he has one now, and I believe it's for The Departed, because I ended up looking. But Hustle and Flow came out before that, so they didn't give him one until then.
and The Departed was good, but Goodfellas. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end,
but we
at
talked
the
about
end, I feel-
how that works.
I'm sorry. In the end, I think they're gonna give him a fucking Oscar for lifetime achievement. It's probably when he's
Yeah,
gonna get his
no,
Oscar.
definitely.
Like Hugo Cabret, I think he got robbed a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
at least give it to him on some section.
Well, not only that, because
the artist was good.
The artist
Don't get
was
me
good.
wrong, but Hugo, for a kids movie, was a phenomenal movie. I mean, from beginning to end, it doesn't even feel like a kid movie.
But I told you that the artist was probably going to end up taking it, even though I didn't really want it to. But I go, it's going to probably take it, and not
and
only
then
that, you don't know about that director. You don't know about those actors. You don't know about the actress.
But then just the imagery, though, alone of Hugo, though, the clocks, the mechanisms, and all that. It's a beautiful movie.
It is.
And my kids will sit there. It's like the only movie that I can sit there and be like, wow, I love this movie. And the kids are sitting there and like...
Are you sure?
And then
'Cause I
like
really
kids-
have a feeling that like you put it on 8 times, your kids are kind of like, damn, I gotta watch this again.
Like, Nikki's like, come on, just put Goodfellas on already, alright? Let's watch Gangs in New York, Pop. And this one's getting old.
Yeah. No, but a Taxi Driver.
See the rabbits.
I know, Taxi Driver. What, you looking at me? You got Nikki running
You know
around
what's funny
telling
though? The
You looking at me?
Gangs in New York, that Liam Neeson has like such a short role in that movie. He's the father that gets murdered in front of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, okay.
That's Liam Neeson.
Man, I haven't seen that movie in a while. I gotta go back and see
I
it.
love that movie. That movie's
I
like
did.
one of my favorite movies. And I think it's funny that it has a hip hop theme at the end of it. Like if you watch it, like because you know how they do the drumming
Yeah.
and that, and then at the end of the movie they do the same drumming, but it has a freaking hip hop feel to it. I was like, what the hell was Martin Scorsese's Gangster?
Well, he is. I mean, he's an original gangster.
Yeah.
You know, what I do like is that him and Clint Eastwood have been making this commercial kind of, and they've been putting it at the beginning of a lot of movies to let people know.
The films.
Yeah, to let them know what they've been doing. And that's, I think, why he also kind of, I felt like he did this tribute to Silent Era, because he needed... at the beginning of a lot of movies to let people know
the films.
yeah, to let them know what they've been doing. And that's, I think, why he also kind of, I felt like he did this tribute to Silent Era, because he needed to let those people know that him and Clint Eastwood have been restoring a lot of old films.
So out of
and
the
it costs a lot of money, though.
So out of the luck of draw, he found a book that had a silent movie in it that would suit to his daughter's age, and
do everything that he basically feels compelled.
if the stars
to
haven't
do.
aligned for anybody else in the
It
world,
did
I don't
for
know,
Scorsese.
for Scorsese.
Because in the movie he shows how difficult it was to have George Malay's movies anyways, that they were at once thought to be all destroyed, every single one of them.
Yeah.
You know? And so then it was really sad because, like you just said, he spent all this time coloring every single still, you know, in order to get that color in there. I mean, he went through these great lengths to they shot in a greenhouse because there was no lighting and stuff like that back then.
And for anybody who doesn't, are still skeptical about us pushing Hugo,
Yeah.
all I have to say is Sir Ben Kingsley. I mean, if you guys don't know who that guy is, he's like one of the best cherished actors. And then there's what's his name as well in there that plays the librarian. Well, what's his name? He was the Sith Lord in the
He was, and I did look up his name, but I had forgot what it was.
Oh man, I don't remember. But he's one of those old great actors as well.
Yeah, he is. Well, you know, Ben Kingsley, if it doesn't ring right away, he was also the one who played Gandhi.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, and I loved the way he did. Like, that role was just awesome.
And he was a British guy playing an Indian.
Yeah.
That was just crazy about
Yeah.
that. Ben Kingsley is one of the amazing ones, just like Michael, what's his name? The guy, Alfred now for the Batman movies.
Oh,
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, yeah.
Have you seen Harry Brown?
No, you told me about that
Yeah,
one. Yeah, I
that
have that
is-
on my queue.
That is a
It's
gritty
going to be coming in.
old movie.
I just saw Water for Elephants. That's the other one that I just saw. Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was I mean, I don't know.
What does that mean? Well, I mean, you could,
I just didn't like it. I don't like it.
Christopher Lee was the other guy.
Okay.
He was the librarian.
I don't like.
The guy,
The guy.
Edward. I don't know
Yeah,
his name. I don't know his name either.
For anybody who's a Twilight,
I didn't realize he
fan,
was the one in the movie.
Yeah, all those actors do not have good acting credits.
And I feel bad because I've never seen a Twilight movie, but I've seen his other movies. Like, he plays another one that has to do about...
He's good in. Is it Angela's Ashes? Yeah, Angela's
He's
Ashes.
in Angela's Ashes?
Yes, he's in.
I've never seen
He
Angela's
has a dirty
Ashes.
little.
I read the book.
Dirty little mustache in that movie.
Edward?
Yeah, he's in it, and that's the only good movie that I know that he was in.
But Angela's Ashes is probably 2004, somewhere around there. He was already... I thought, like, the Twilight movies made him
No,
famous.
he had a small role. I think he was like the villain in Angela's Ashes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Maybe, I mean, it's been a while since I read the book. Maybe I can go see
And then the
movie
last
now.
movie that I saw, that ugly girl that plays the lead person from the Twilight movies, was in Into the Wild, where is Enola Wiley, where that guy goes into the wild
yeah.
and he eats the wrong fucking berries. I don't know if I killed the movie for you, but he eats the wrong fucking berries and dies. Don't eat the berries.
Did you get to see Hunger Games yet?
No, I want to watch that one. Have you seen it?
No, I've been hearing really great things. I actually want to read the book first.
I
That's the reason
saw
why.
great straight reviews for it.
Yeah.
It's like the X-Men movie. I think it's got the 99% on the Rotten Tomatoes list.
Yeah, and since it's also a series, it's definitely gonna, with the block. I mean, the revenue
I don't know
that
how
they
much it
got
goes.
back.
Is it just the first one? Because the books are fairly short.
As far as I know, I believe that this movie only follows the first one, but that's good because really, if you think about it, I think a movie should only adapt a short novel because if it's long, it already misses things. And from what I understand from the people who have read it, they still miss things.
Did you see that they're remaking Total Recall? And they're doing the actual
They
novel?
told me. No,
They're
they
doing it on
told
the
me.
novel
Oh, they're doing
base.
it on. Well, it's a short story. They're doing it off the short story.
They're doing it off the short story.
I didn't know that.
And Colin Farrell's going to be
I know.
playing.
I did hear. I'm not.
You're not a Colin Farrell fan?
No, I hate Colin Farrell. I've only liked him in one movie, and that's because he dies in it. Minority Report.
Which is the movie that I liked him in?
Alexander.
No, that was a fucking horrible movie.
Phone Booth.
No.
Like you're not putting up a very good argument for your Colin Farrell as a great actor.
I'm not saying he's like a great actor, but there's a movie. Man, what the fuck?
I know,
Oh.
Daredevil. You liked him as Bullseye.
No. Okay, maybe he's not a great. The light's going, so.
We only got a few minutes left, real quick. Okay,
It was Miami Vice. Yeah, he was good in that one.
I did see Miami Vice.
It's a good movie. It's a Michael Mann movie.
It is?
Yeah.
I think. Oh no, you don't like Michael Bay. I'm trying to think Michael Mann.
Fuck Michael Bay.
You like Michael Mann? I'm trying to think what else has he done.
I don't remember, but it's a good movie.
I've seen a few of his things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Well, I wasn't sure because I mean, it's one of those things we talk about age. I actually remember Miami Vice.
I remember Miami Vice.
I mean, Don Johnson.
It'd be 10 o'clock on NBC.
What was
on
that?
Friday nights.
What was the other thing that he ended up coming out with Cheech Marin? Remember, years later.
Nash Bridges.
And see, and because of Miami Vice,
We're gonna talk about old shit.
Man,
next podcast.
I loved Nash Bridges because of Miami Vice. And when they teamed him up with Cheech, that was better than the way they teamed him up in Miami Vice.
Yeah, that's true.
Those two guys were hilarious and they could do whatever they wanted. I mean, he had Cheech Marin for crying out loud. And Cheech was
From
always
a cop, from a marihuana to a cop.
I know, and he was always the rational one. He was always like, "No, you can't do this.
Eh?
Yeah, you can't do this, eh?
If this is torture, chain me to the wall." And I still remember Oliver and Company.
Yeah, that was a huge line. I know, but so yeah, I don't know. I'm not a Colin Farrell fan, so I try to usually avoid his movies. I love as much
That's
as
funny. I was trying to defend the guy, and you're like, "Phone Booth," are like, "Fuck no, that's a horrible movie." Daredevil, no, that's a horrible movie. Alexander, that's fucking horrible movie.
so, but I like the original Total Recall, as cheesy as that sounds. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger's old action movies, and I love that. I love the whole.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. There's nothing wrong with liking Total Recall.
yeah. It played.
And when you're our age, all you remember is the three boobs. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was
you
a
do
big
remember that.
thing when we were kids. Like, oh, did you see the 3 boobs? Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah,
the 3
because
boobs.
we were kids, though. That's
Yeah,
why. And I was
that's
like, oh
what's funny
man,
about it.
I think I just saw a porno. Yeah, these are weird.
That's what
I'm never gonna see another one in my life.
Yeah.
It was frightening. It scared me.
Unbeknownst.
I was like, Mom, do you got 3, Mom? Well, no, we had to be like, what, 8, 10 years old when that
Yeah.
movie came out, somewhere around there. So, I mean, it was...
Back in the Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven
Yeah,
Seagal.
Steven, yeah. But that Total Recall is it's a good movie, and it doesn't play that much different from the short story anyways. So, wrapping it up, we're not exactly sure what we're going to be talking about on the next one, but we are going to be talking about it with each other.
And people that listen to us, Screaming Rebels on Twitter, just drop us what you guys want to hear from us. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys can also drop us a line and see if we find that we like what you guys send us. We'll do something about that.
And we are going to probably be trying to do more spontaneous stuff. We might just come on one day and say, hey, we're live. You know?
Because this one was perfect. We had Coney, and then we kind of went and brushed up recap.
Yeah, and Hector is probably going to be taking a side path on Screaming Rebels and putting up some other stuff that hopefully becomes viral. And maybe Screaming Rebels will become viral, and we'll be competing with Coney 2012.
We will be VD
Yeah.
for 2012.
This is...
We will be the venereal disease of podcasts for 2012.
We need to be the VD for 2012. Remember, SRP 2012.
SRP 2012.
And we're going to put bumper stickers on everyone's car, whether they want them or not. We're just going to slap them on. And when they try to peel those things off, we're going to Gorilla Glue those bumper stickers to everybody's car.
And we're going to YouTube it as well. Gorilla Glued SRP 2012.
Yeah, until we get arrested. And then we'll be doing it with our cell phones from Corcoran saying, 2012 SRP.
We're like, do you know how much this fucking phone cost me to smuggle it in?
Yeah, no.
We have to do the podcast.
Yeah, this podcast. Well, we'll probably be doing it more regularly. I mean, we would have nothing else to do.
It'd be like a daily show.
Alright, so signing off, Screaming Rebels. This is Jorge Guzman with my host.
This is Hector Gomez. You guys have a great last night of...
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Once you change your philosophy, you change your thought pattern. Once you change your thought pattern, you change your attitude. Once you change your attitude, it changes your behavior pattern. And then you go on into some action.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you.